People think that when you pay somebody, you're paying them for the job that they're doing. That's not true. You're not paying them for the job that they're doing. Unless it's like manual labor right there and then, they're fixing your, I don't know, your bathroom. But even that requires a certain amount of skill. When you pay an expert, you're paying them for how long it took them to acquire that knowledge. A woman saw Picasso, famous artist, at a cafe. Oh, Picasso, Picasso, I admire you so much. Can you give me like a souvenir? You know, draw me something on a napkin or something? Picasso said, yeah, give me a napkin. He takes the napkin, draws something. 30 seconds later, you got $50,000. The woman almost had a heart attack. What, $50,000? What are you, crazy? You joke, right? He goes, no, $50,000. You want this napkin, it's $50,000. She goes, took you 5 seconds to make it. He goes, no. It took me 60 years for you to want this napkin. It took me 60 years to acquire the skill, to be recognized around the world, for you to actually ask me to draw you something on a napkin. That's what you're paying for. That's what you're paying for. When you go to a Beit Din, for example, somebody complained to me recently about the cost of the Beit Dins for conversion. He says, in his opinion, he's a nice guy, really nice guy. He says, but in his opinion, in his new opinion, he's a brand new Jew, in his opinion, he thinks that Beit Din shouldn't charge anything. Shouldn't charge anything. It should be free to convert people. I said, why should it be free? He goes, why? Why? Don't they want more Jews? I said, yeah, why is one thing negate the other? Do you know how long it takes to become a Dayan? It takes 20 years of learning. Minimum. Most of the time, you're talking about 25, 30 years of learning. A really good Dayan, his entire life. That means you're talking about the guy's a Dayan. He's already 60, 70 years old. That means he's learned pretty much every single day since he knew how to read. You're not paying for the 5 seconds he looks at you to see if you dipped in the mikveh. Oh, Chazaku Baruch, you're a Jew, welcome to Judaism. You think that's what you're paying him for? No, you're paying him for 60 years, 7 years of toiling over the Torah. That's what you're paying him for. That's what you're paying him for. You're paying him for that in Shamayim, they actually consider his signature valid. You could sign a certificate also. In Shamayim, it says toilet paper. Why? You're nothing. He's been studying for 60, 70 years. He signs. Shamayim says, oh, the rabbi such and such signed it. This guy's a Jew. His signature means you are a Jew or you're not a Jew. Your signature, I don't know, maybe a check you could sign. That means something into the bank. So that means, what are you paying for? You're paying for the decades of learning, the decades of Mesirut Nefesh. People think that if they watch a few shiurim and they read a couple of books, they're already smart. If you actually understood what it means to be a Talmid Chacham, you become embarrassed. I'll show you this. This, for example, is something I brought with me. I was thinking of maybe mentioning it at some point. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. This is a tshuva. This is an answer from one of the Gdolei Hador, Rav Baruch Ber Leibovich, that he writes in Birkat Shmuel, and he writes about whether it's allowed to go to these schools that have become modern, where they start teaching secular subjects. Now, this tshuva, first of all, it's in Rashi script. You're not going to find it in English. But forget about that part, even if you find it in English. The amount of knowledge and sources that's in a single tshuva, this is, 6, 7 pages, whatever it is. It's tiny little handwriting. This is like the small print on medicine. The amount of information that's in this tshuva, you need to know no less than about, I would say no less than probably 5,000 books. By heart. In order to write this tshuva. It looks 6 pages. You want to be like it? You have to know 5 at least. I'm probably like underestimating. You probably put another couple of zeros next to it. You have to know at least 5,000 books by heart. To have the ability to write such a tshuva. Not this tshuva. This tshuva, I don't know, the whole Torah you need to know. It's something out of this world. Simple question. Are you allowed, not allowed? You think it's yes or no? What, you think you just decide yes or no? So, to be a dayan, to be a posek, requires such an immense amount of sacrifice. A life's worth of sacrifices. That when you're dealing with somebody that sacrificed their entire life for the Torah, learning Torah, and he tells you that the tefillin that he made is a couple of $1,000. The Sefer Torah that he wrote is $100,000. The mezuzah that he sold you is a couple of $100. The little piece of paper that certifies that you're married or you're a convert is a few dollars or whatever it is. When they say that, you're not paying them for the signature. You're paying them to what made that signature worth anything. That's what you're paying. So that's why, Rabotai, the people that look for discounts in the Jewish world are simply making a very, very big mistake because they're not valuing the Torah. They're not valuing the Torah. You're not giving kavod to the Torah, which is a sin of itself. It's very, very important for people to understand that when a Dayan says something, when a Talmid Chacham, doesn't have to be a Dayan, Talmid Chacham, he's been learning many years, teaches, does a lot of good things, knows what he's talking about. You ask him a question, he knows the answer, and he can give you a source on any aspect of the Torah. He has dat Torah. He has a good mind, but not just because of intellect, because he has Yirat Shamayim, he's afraid of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He doesn't start giving you his opinion. You're dealing with a Talmid Chacham, you have to understand, Torah tells us that's like a Kadosh Baruch Hu speaking from his throat. You say, oh no, can you give me a discount? You say, oh no, I think what he said is shtuyot. I don't want to scare you too much, but I could just tell you, the Reshit Chokhmah says there's a special place in Gehenom for people like that. That's how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu adores Talmidei Chachamim. So, you have to understand, a Talmid Chacham may not look like much in this world. But in the next world, in the real world that's eternal, they're the kings. That's what the Gemara says. Who are the kings? It says Talmidei Chachamim. Who are the kings? Talmidei Chachamim. Who's Talmid Chacham? Someone who sacrificed his life for the sake of Torah. Not someone sacrifices the sake of Torah for the last 5 years. Life, meaning you could be learning for 20 years straight and still be a בור ועם הארץ. 20 years straight, all day, all night, you're learning. According to Torah, you still have no idea what you're talking about. It's not a matter of time. It's a matter of sacrifice. It's a matter of what you got out of it. Some people get in less time, some people get in much more time. Point being, Rabotai, Talmid Chacham is not you are self-declared Talmid Chacham. Talmid Chacham is other Talmidei Chachamim saying Talmid Chacham. But you yourself say, I'm a בור ועם הארץ, I don't know anything. You ask the biggest Talmidei Chachamim in the world, they look at themselves as nothing. Anyone that thinks of themselves as something is definitely nothing. Definitely nothing. But the point is, Rabotai, is you have to understand, is that to write on the halacha, like people look at the easy parts. For example, you look at some of these simple halacha books, like the Shabbat halachot that I gave some of you guys. Anyone that wants some copies, I have with me in the car. Halachot Shabbat books. Or the some of the other simple halacha where it just pretty much tells you allowed, not allowed. People think it's that easy because they simplify their Torah so much, tell you allowed, not allowed, you figure that, he just said it's allowed, not allowed. You have no idea how many books and how many years of learning you had to learn in order to write allowed, not allowed. They asked the Chafetz Chaim, how do you determine, Mishnah Berurah, how do you determine halacha? He says, after I read every single, and learn what every single posek wrote about this topic 36 times each, then I write halacha. That means, if in the last 2,000 years, 1,000 people, 1,000 Rabbanim, wrote allowed, not allowed, whatever they wrote, and each one didn't just write allowed, not allowed, they wrote Sfarim about it. After I read everything all of them ever said, 36 times, then I'll tell you what's allowed, not allowed. Then. So, the little that we know is very, very, it's very interesting, because the less you know, the more you think you know. The people that know the least think they know the most. They're the loudest. The people that know the most, quiet. Don't tell you, I know this, I know that. Gemara Gemara says there are certain things that Chachamim change the truth on. One of them is how much knowledge they have. Even if you ask him, oh, you know this Gemara by heart? I don't know. Even if he knows, I don't know. Why? Who really says I really know? And even if I know, why should I say I know? Do I really know, Bechlal? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to go up to Shemai and say, everything you learned is wrong. The Rogatchover Rebbe says to his students, I don't even know. I know that I'm going to Gan Eden only because of my wife. Rogatchover Rebbe was one of the biggest Geonim that has been around in the last 1,000 years. Lived 100 years ago or so. Chabadnik. Real Chabadnik, though. He says, I'm only going to Gan Eden because of my wife. Now, if you want to speak to the Rogatchover Rebbe, you have to know the entire Torah. Why? He doesn't speak regular. He speaks in sources. He doesn't even say what the source says. You would have conversations with Talmidei Chachamim, just page numbers. Yeah, but Kiddushin Daf Aleph, but Kiddushin this, but that, just the sources, not the rest of the stuff that I give you a 3-hour shiur about. Just the page numbers, and if you can't hold the conversation, then who are you to talk to me? Oh, you don't know what it says in Kiddushin Daf Lamed, Amud Lamed, no, you don't know. What's the conversation? Go save your life, go learn some Gemara. Why are you wasting your time talking to me? Now, he himself said about himself, he knows he's only going to Gan Eden because of his wife. He said, what about all the Torah that you learned your whole life? He says, who knows about my Torah? I'm going to go up to Shemaim, they're going to tell me, listen, everything you learned is wrong. Everything you learn is wrong. You're upside down hard. Oh, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. He said about himself. But then, my wife's going to come and say, okay, ma'am. She goes, oh, Gan Eden. Why Gan Eden? She goes, well, you said in the Torah, the only reason you're going to go to Gan Eden, you have to be modest, you have to send your husband and your boys to learn Torah. I did that. I was modest. I sent my boys to learn Torah. My husband, Torah all day, all night. They're going to tell her in Gan Eden, wait, lady, your husband's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. His entire Torah is wrong. She'll tell them, listen, is it my fault he's an idiot? You told me to send him to go learn Torah. That's what I did. You didn't tell me to go make sure he knows what he's talking about. You told me to go send him to learn Torah. That's what I did. They're going to tell in Shemaim, I'm sorry, lady, you're right. You're right. Gan Eden, highest level. But then she's going to start crying in Gan Eden. She says, well, how could I be in Gan Eden? My husband is in Gehenom. And they're going to take me out of Gehenom. He says they're going to put me in Gan Eden because of her. This is one of the biggest giants lived among people. He met Einstein one time. Einstein came out of the room after 4 minutes, said you can make 4 Einsteins with him. Famous meeting.